Hey, what's up everybody? TechChucker here, and today I've got a review for you of the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cartoon Neutrinos 3-pack. We got Dask, we got Kayla, we got Zach, and we got so much more. We pre-ordered these guys, I don't even know how long ago. It is so awesome to finally have them in hand. It is, oh my gosh, they are even better out of the packaging than I even imagined they would be. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead. Well, we've already cracked it open. Let's go ahead and get on with the review. Here they are out of the packaging and they look amazing. I love the way that NECA portrayed these figures. They sculpted them nearly perfectly. I mean, they look so much like they did in the show. The colors, the vibrancy of the colors, it's just amazing. It'll never come through very well when I'm filming, but they just look so good. I love the way that they look. There is one primary issue that I'll point out with the sculpt, and that really is on Kayla's feet, that those shoes are just absolutely tiny, and it is very difficult to stand her on her own. From left to right, we've got Dask, Kayla, and Zach, if you're not familiar. The Neutrinos, they're, what are they, extra dimensional creatures or people from Dimension X. They are peace-loving, and they kind of, it's like they're stuck in the 50s or 60s. They have a very 50s, 60s vernacular that they use. They drive a flying vehicle that looks very much like the old 50s, 60s vehicles, and I absolutely love these characters. And that's why having this 3-pack is so fun. I just love it. I'm going to try and go through the review very quickly. There's a lot going on here with 3 individual characters, but they all basically have unique sculpts. Everything is unique, from the shoulders, the torsos, the legs. There's very little, if anything, that, you know, doesn't have at least some uniqueness. I mean, the thigh legs for the 2 guys seem to be pretty much the same. They may have used the same thighs, just shrunk them down for Kayla. But just look at the hair on these guys. I mean, this is just so cool looking. They just look amazing, and the paint apps are so clean. With all NECA stuff, the joints, when you start moving them, you will see some paint that starts to fleck off, but that's just the nature of it. You'll find that Kayla, being the smallest, she's going to be the most delicate, that you want to be the most careful with. Everything about these things just looks so cool. The other thing that you're going to want to just be aware of is the arms and wrists and whatnot get very, very small on these guys. They are quite small. We'll do a measurement fairly quickly so that you can see just how tall they are and how they compare to the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But these are very small and delicate. But I don't really feel as though once you get those joints moving, I don't really feel like I'm that worried that they're gonna break off on me. And they've got so much character. Just look at the sunglasses on this guy. Ah, it's so cool. I love the curly of her hair. They really nailed the look. So paint, sculpt, they nailed it on these guys. And we can't hardly talk about sculpt and paint without measuring them up just to see how tall they are. Zach, he seems to be pretty close to the tallest, and I'm gonna say he's coming in at about 5 inches. Kayla, to the top of her hair, almost 5 inches, and then we've got Dask at just over 5 inches with his hair. So not huge, but I will say I think that they sculpt pretty darn well. To prove it, let's throw in some of their counterparts. We've got Leonardo in there, if the lighting will play nice with me. We've got Shredder. He obviously is considerably taller. And then who else do we want to throw in? Let's throw in a foot soldier right behind Kayla. And that'll give you a little bit better idea of the sculpt, or the scale. And then let's throw in a standard Marvel Legends with Deadpool. So I think scale-wise, these guys were small in the show, and they're small compared to their counterparts, but not that much smaller. So I think NECA did a great job with that. All right, so the articulation is probably the hardest part to showcase on these, just because they are so much smaller and more delicate. So I'm going to be very careful with them. You should be very careful with yours once you get them if you haven't already. All of their heads are on basically like a ball peg or a double ball peg, and they have decent range of motion. So starting off with Dask, he can look up, look down quite a bit, and then he's got a lot of range of motion to be able to move that thing all over the place, which is awesome. In the shoulders, which is where it gets a little bit tricky on all of them, but they do have hinges to be able to get their arm out. Not always does it go out all that far. It will rotate depending on what they've got going on for shoulder pads. And then in the elbow area, there is a swivel. And these are really, really small and very, very delicate. There is a hinge. And again, range of motion is going to be dependent on each one and what they've got for Sculpt. He isn't able to go very far with the... Geez, I've got my arm in the way. He isn't able to go very far with that range. His torso, I think it's a double ball joint. Doesn't really go forward very much. Can go back a decent amount. So that I'm relatively pleased with, I guess. He is able to swivel around and then go side to side. That works pretty darn well. There isn't really a waist swivel. He has in the hips, he's got what looks to be ball joints there. Decent range. He can kick forward. This little area here that is kind of a soft pliable, and then he can kick back a little bit. It's not very far, but you know, it will do. It'll suffice. And then there is a rotation. In the knees, he's got double jointed knees. All of them have double jointed knees, which is nice. Want to hit this with a little bit of heat, but mine is stuck. All right, once you get it unstuck, that is about the range that he's got. All right, there is no shin swivel, but there is an ankle hinge and an ankle rocker. The hinge can go forward and back a decent amount and pretty decent range of motion for the rocker. Let's check out our next one, Zach. He's got basically all of the same capabilities in his head. He's got the ball joints. Those move around quite a bit. He's got good range of motion throughout that, which is great. What has he got in the shoulders? He's got a hinge. Not that great. It will swivel. And then, again, very, very thin elbows. Don't go very far, but, you know, it'll suffice. Wrists, very, very dainty little wrists. Those aren't going to move, or you're just going to want to be very careful about those. So you can see there's paint rubbing off. In the torso, that will move. It'll go forward a little bit more than the other guy, back, decent amount, lots of range of motion. In the hips, he can do a little bit better splits. That's not too bad. He can kick forward. All of these joints are starting to feel a little bit loose, which, you know, is bothersome. He can kick back about that far. Not too bad. Again, hip swivel, double jointed knees. That works pretty good. And then again, no shin swivel, but he's got an ankle hinge, goes back that far, forward that far. These shoes are a little bigger, so he's got a better, you know, stance. Those are a little easier to stand him with. And lastly, Kayla's articulation, basically all the same concepts. She's got the ball joints in the head, can't go back that far, can't really go forward that much or all that well. She can move side to side, and she's got lots of swivel and tilt and all that. In the shoulders, she's got ball hinges. If I can get this without breaking it, she actually has the best range of motion for her shoulder. And she has a swivel at the elbow, and she can go about 90 degrees. And then again, the wrists are very, very delicate. Same with the elbows. Just be careful, but they do bend pretty well. In the torso, she's got that ball, I think double ball peg. She can go forward about that far, back about that much. She can swivel, she can tilt. That works pretty good. And then down in the torso, she's got those ball joints. Pretty good range of motion there. She could probably go a little further because this is rubbery. She can kick forward about that far, not too bad. She can kick back that far, which is actually pretty good. She's got the swivel. If you look under there, you might be able to see the balls. the ball joints. Sorry. And she's got double jointed knees. Those go all the way if you can get both to activate. Sometimes they get stuck. Mine's getting stuck. No shin swivel, but she does have an ankle hinge that can go back that far. She can get her foot that far forward. And then there is a swivel. But again, her ankles and her feet are so tiny, it is very difficult to stand her up. But overall, I think the articulation on all of these is really, really quite good. Last up, let's talk the accessories. This set comes with a lot of really fun accessories. So let's talk about the boring ones first. First thing, they come with 3 of these little clear stands. They have a little tiny peg, and you can see that I've got Kayla standing on one because she does not stand very well. The pegs are much smaller than, say, a standard Neca peg. If we can zoom in on this, possibly. Oops. That little peg is tiny. And unfortunately, their feet on, I can't remember which one it is, the hole is kind of filled in a little bit. So you may have to open the hole up on the bottom of their feet a little bit just to be able to get those in. And, you know, some people might not want to use these clear things. I'm going to use these, or, well, we'll talk about the other thing in just a moment. I said I was going to go through the boring accessories first. I don't know if you'll count this truly as boring or not, but they come with a slew of extra hands. And let's see if we can zoom into all of these hands that we've got here. There is just a ton of them. So they each come with the hands that they have on when they're in the packaging. And then they each come with, well, let's see, how many do we have? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So that means they each get about 4 hands total extra, so 6 hands. And the cool thing about it is all of these extras are not necessarily the exact same. So we've got this hand, which, if I can get it to focus, it's kind of a peace symbol. There's a couple of different ones. They each will be able to have fists. They'll be able to have open hands. There's just a lot of options, which I really appreciate what Neca did with these hands. So while they are a little bit boring, they're all tiny, they will all work for each of the different figures. So they are swappable amongst all of them. Now we'll get into some of the more fun stuff. Let's see, what do we do? Let's go into the things that I'm not 100% certain of, like this box. This box piece, I'm not certain what this is. It looks really cool. Now, I remember reading up a little bit somewhere, bring up my notes here. There was a Dimension X cable box, and I'm guessing that is what this is. I don't know what a cable box is, a Dimension X cable box. Who knows what it is? It's painted very nicely. It looks really good when this thing focuses, which it doesn't seem to want to do. It wants to keep focusing on Kayla. There we go. Let's lock it off. That looks really cool. This next piece, I believe, is, maybe a neutrino finder device is my guess for this piece. It's painted so nicely. Neca does a great job with their accessories and the paint apps. It's got that nice panel lining. It just looks so good. If I'm wrong on any of these pieces, you guys just let me know. I'm sure you will, no matter what. Then this next one, which looks to be some sort of a looking device. And in my notes, what do we got? That could be a tracking device. It could be the neutrino finding device. No idea, but the paint apps on it, if this thing will focus, look so good. I think Neca did a great job. There's a lot of fine detail throughout on this. I mean, just look at all the different colors. Every little piece is painted and it is sculpted so nicely. We're not done yet though. We've got this piece, which also has great paint apps. Again, not 100% sure what this is. Some sort of measuring device or something. I don't know. It looks awesome. I'm happy to have it. And then we have this, which I believe is, what is it? It's like a freeze ray gun, I think is what it is. Oops, am I even on camera? This thing is painted so well. As always, Neca does an amazing job with the paint apps on these accessories. They're so much fun. Oh my gosh, it is so awesome to have this. We aren't done yet though. We've got 2 other characters that they gave us. This is Baby Tribble, or Princess Baby Tribble. And the details on this are very, very well done. I think they did a great job on it. The head is articulated, so it will turn. Mine is stuck. It keeps getting stuck. I don't want to force it, but there is a ball peg and it will articulate. These shoulders are also articulated, so they will move up and down, but there is not any other articulation in those shoulders, but both of them will move. Baby Tribble looks amazing. So well done. I love the hair. If you recall, let me think, I think the first time that little Princess Tribble or Baby Tribble comes in is season 4, episode 10, 4 turtles and a baby. That might be the first time, I don't remember. But the cool thing is like, these are baby neutrinos, if I recall right, and they have like a telekinetic power when they're babies, and then that goes away as they get older. I don't know. I don't remember. I could be wrong. But we're not done. We have also the Gribbix. And, oops, he's not focused. Here we go. This guy is super cool. If you recall, the more he eats, the bigger he gets. And so there's a possibility that we might see from Neca a larger Gribbix. I think that's how you pronounce it. Gribbix? That's how it's spelled. Grybyx. This guy also has an articulated head, so he can move that head around, and he just looks super cool. We aren't done. There is one more set of accessories. Each one of these guys comes with a hoverboard, and these things are really cool. And they are kind of a must. Because their feet are so small, it's hard for them to stand on their own. Now, the 2 guys, they can stand a little bit better, but Kayla has a really tough time standing. So they have pegs that the feet can go on. They're painted really nicely, and they also come with this clear ball peg stand so that they can actually stand up on this. So you look at the bottoms of each of these. So they each are colored a little bit uniquely. That one. And then we've got an orange one. Focus. The bottoms look really good. And then we've got a purple one. We'll go ahead and throw one of these guys on. Let's throw, we'll throw Kayla on since she has the hardest time standing. Again, these are very, very small pegs and peg holes, but once you get them on here, they look really good. And since that is a ball peg, you can change the angle as to how they are on that thing. So overall, the accessories are pretty darn amazing. Just overall, these guys are awesome. If you were on the fence, I hope you still bought them because they're probably going to be kind of tough to come by. But, you know, maybe Neca will put these in stores. They're in the standard, you know, regular 2-pack style packaging. So they might show up in stores. If they do, this is a must-have. You gotta have them. It's about $75 to $80. I think it is worth it. What do you guys think? Did you guys get this set? Is it worth the money? Are you glad you got them? I think you should be glad that you got them. They're awesome. If you liked my review, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, all that jazz, and I will see you in the next video.